exposed video. So.
Oh, that's on the second channel, so no one's gonna watch that.
Oh, okay, never mind. Well,
So.
I'm living out in a cardboard box because of that video. So.
Okay. So the first topic I wanted to talk about was actually the new case, because it's not like brand new at this point. It's been out for 2 weeks, and I think at this point, like, people can start to get their thoughts about it. Because I think when it first came out, people immediately were like super positive, because the last case that we got with because the last case that we got with the winter case, honestly, like some of the like most of the cosmetics were either like okay to like really bad, and then but we haven't really had like a case that has been good in a while. And most of the cosmetics in this case are actually good rather than being okay to bad. Like, we for the past couple of years, all we get are the summer case, which in the past like 2 years has been okay, and then the Halloween case, which is super egregious shit that Valve lets us wear all year round now for some reason. And then we have the winter case, where it's like, fucking Christmas trees and stuff everywhere. And I think now that we got something that like people actually like, cosmetics that people will actually use for more than, like 3 months, I think the feedback was like super positive.
I would agree. I mean, I think that Valve, and it's no secret to anybody who's played this game for a long time now, that Valve TF2, Valve has a tendency to neglect its games, but TF2 is the most neglected of all of them. And I think a lot of the things that they've been putting in the crates recently have been embarrassing. Just to kind of be frank with you, like the whole, what was it called? That one, the corpse carrier. That was an embarrassment, I think, to Valve, even more so than the bots are still the biggest embarrassment, but holy crap, not having the corpse carrier be Halloween restricted was kind of egregious to me. I'm not sure if you remember that whole fiasco.
It was, well, I had a little bit of a different perspective on it, actually, than I would say most people did, because most people, I think, thought it was either really stupid, because there was like three camps of people. Um, there was one where it was like, you thought this was really dumb, and why would you add a second body to a character? And
Yeah.
a lot of those people who thought that way were sniper mains, and I do not blame them for being mad, if I'm being honest. And then after that, you had the people who was like, haha, this is really funny. And like, TF2 sex update, right? And then there was the third group of people who are like, this should not be like, where the people who are like fucking dying the past couple years, and I'm kind of one of these people where it's just like the TF2 art style got progressive, like in terms of like being more general. I would say like 20, like the first like two cases, like, yes, the potassium bonnet was like super like against TF2's art style, but like it's developed over the years. But like this is like the death. Like there were like, I know Funk made that video a while ago, but like nothing
Yeah,
has
that was
been
a
like
while back.
super egregious up until the past couple years with like,
Yeah,
because
and I mean, I think a part of that is it's kind of like a power creep in a card game, but instead it's for TF2. Like you need to continue creating, or I mean, I should use creating lightly because Valve doesn't actually make them; they just pull them straight from the community market. But you need to continue putting out content that people want to buy crates and keys for in order to potentially get that item. Because if you make stuff that isn't exciting anymore, there's already so many hats to choose from. I feel like it has less of an appeal. And with the corpse carrier too, Valve was probably raking in the dough from that because people were selling it for really expensive
yeah, because they
because of how
changed it.
broken it was. And I
That
mean,
too.
again, I don't think Valve cares all that much about the money that it earns from TF2 because let's be honest, they have better sources of money nowadays. And that's probably one of the reasons why TF2 has been so ignored is because they don't really need it anymore. But, and again, that's not a good justification for why they do it. I just think it's kind of part of the reason.
Yeah.
But I think you need to make the cases become more and more ridiculous. And it does work with TF2, whether you like it or not, because TF2 is just a goofy game. But you need to kind of have that creep in order to keep people entertained to an extent.
Yeah, I actually the weird perspective that I have is that, so for those of you who don't know, in competitive TF2 there are whitelists, which you'll see a lot of conversations about, especially from me, where there are weapons that are banned or unbanned. So like, for example, the Cow Mangler is banned in 6s, but is not banned in Highlander. And the Airstrike is banned in Highlander, but not in 6. And then you have it from like region to region, where in North America in RGL, the Market Gardener is like free to use. You can use it in 6s, but it is banned in Europe in E2F2L. But there are also cosmetics that can get banned for
But you can't
various
even
reasons.
have any Halloween mode, by the way. Halloween is
Halloween
just
is
completely
actually
can't.
in RGL it is enabled actually.
Really? You can
Yeah.
have Halloween? What? I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Okay.
So but and I know that it does not, or at least unless they changed it in like the last like 6 months, when Scream Fortress comes around, it automatically like it'll trigger on the RGL servers, because I've seen people use like Halloween restricted cosmetics. But the thing is that so like certain cosmetics can get banned, but usually it's because of like spy and whatever, and kind of like it doesn't really matter. But on day one, the day that the corpse carrier was added, like immediately, like the staff Discord was just on fire, because it was
Yeah.
like,
So how did it work,
and
by the way? Was the hitbox the top head, right?
yeah, I
Okay.
do not
It's just really
remember. I
this is
honestly
really
don't remember.
distracting.
Yeah,
It makes it so hard to it just looks like the
yeah,
hitbox
it
is different
was
than it is.
the thing is it was probably one of the most unanimous like
Votes ever,
cosmetic
probably.
bans I've ever
Yeah.
seen. Because most people, because like if we go back and talk like booty time, where it just like you make like the jingle sound, there's gonna be an argument, because it's like, oh well, spy is nerfed, but the other conversation is like, yeah, but you have situational awareness where that scout is at all times, so like it's give and a take. But with this, it was like this for every sniper player in the entire game. Even if you think that the second head is that head for like half a second, that's still half a second you could have headshot the other player.
Yeah,
So like
it's kind of.
it was really egregious.
And I don't even like sniper. By the way, I think sniper is not fun to play against.
At
But
JJ.
it's not fair for sniper players to have to put up with that. And I mean we're getting a little off topic here, but I will shout out too, and I'm guessing that you know the answer to this, of whether or not there's a couple of pyro cosmetics, and I could not remember them for the life. There's like the clown pants, and there's like the fishing jacket.
Yes,
You can look.
yeah, I
You
know.
can look like the other team, and
Yes,
those
yeah,
are
I know.
banned too,
I
right?
put it. No, they're not actually. Because
What? Okay, that's
I put that
ridiculous.
because I put that in the Xylophone Discord, where because I played against a pyro who was dressed up all like that. I
Oh my
thought he
god.
was on the opposite team multiple times, like because he was
Yep.
on the other team at first, and I thought he was on my team, and I was like, fuck. And then he got auto balanced, or I got auto balanced, or something. And then I was on his team, and I kept thinking he was an enemy, and I was like shooting like rockets at him, and it just did nothing, and I was like, fuck. I thought he was like air blasting or something or
Yep.
whatever, but no, he was just my fucking teammate. And so, but yeah,
Things like that are what Valve should avoid adding. Like I think it's
well,
fine to add goofy cosmetics, but things like that, or at least they need to change that. That should not be paintable like that.
well,
That's just
it's not
ridiculous.
just that. I think the issue is that a similar color to Slate, which is a blue paint, should not
It's
exist.
available on Red Team.
Yeah, it just shouldn't exist. It should be retired. Like, I know it's weird to say that we should retire a paint, because it's just a tool that's been around for like what feels like forever. But like we've retired unusuals like entirely, like the energy orb on like
Energy
weapon.
orb is one.
Yeah. So like we can retire, like I think that paint should just be retired. And then but there's no paint that is like red. I guess you could technically say like Manco orange, but I don't think and like cream spirit, like the orange colors, but I don't think those are nearly as bad as literally being like blue. Like just
Right.
like it blends in blue with the blue team. Like that's
But
not fair.
as I'm really glad that Valve this I hope that the crates continue to look like the ones that we just got, because
I agree.
there were, as far as I know, there are no glaring issues with any of that stuff, like hitboxes, paintable. I don't think any of this stuff is going to get banned.
No,
I think the unusuals are okay.
yeah, there's only a few that I enjoy, but I think
Yeah, but
most of them aren't that great.
sure.
But the one thing that I enjoy about this crate, which is something I have an issue with a lot of cosmetics, which is that very often, I shouldn't say extremely often, but very often, I see cosmetics that are contributed that have paintable regions over areas that normally have team color. Like, for example, I know this is gonna so like Demo Man, right? So Demo Man has like his jacket is like gray, right? Like his bomb vest is like,
Yeah.
you know, is gray. So that being a paintable area is fine. But Demo Man's sleeves are red, and so are his pants. Those areas should never be painted, in my
Mhm.
opinion, because it can annihilate team recognition. So if you're
I think that's
making,
what
go ahead.
makes part of TF2's gameplay so good too with the team recognition is that in other games it can be difficult to tell who's in your team and not.
Yeah.
And the
So
saturated colors make it really easy, and also like the maps are generally not very saturated. So like think of like I don't know Dust Bowl. It's kind
yes,
of it's kind of brown, you know, upward.
as
It's kind of brown, and it's really easy to see that blue and that red stand out.
yeah,
And it can also be a bad thing, like you said before, and I've experienced the same thing when there's that one freaking pyro with the blue painted cosmetics on red team, and you keep thinking that he's on the other team because it really does screw with you.
yeah, absolutely.
So
And as
I
someone,
agree. I 100% agree that those areas should not be paintable.
yeah,
I think that's ridiculous.
and it's
And
not something that
so
happens commonly, but when it does happen, it's like that pyro cosmetic where you just literally it's very difficult, or it can't if you are have to spend more than a second to identify what the other team, like what team the enemy is on, and they're right in front of you, that's just bad. It should not take you more than a split second to realize what they're on. I mean,
so
so
kind of segueing then, I would like to see that those cosmetics and potentially that paint get reworked if Valve were ever to actually update this game outside of bug fixes and crates.
yeah, I think that's more up to the like the content creator, the person who made that. But I think if we could have a
I
conversation about it
suppose. I
where
think yeah.
yeah, I would also like to say if you have a cosmetic that adds team color to areas that did not have team color, that's absolutely fine. Like for example, the new like the soldier cosmetic, the new one with like the jacket where it's like a like detective jacket, that is perfectly fine because it adds blue everywhere. Yes, it clips with a lot of stuff, like everywhere. When you add other cosmetics. However, if you are red or blue, you are the only color you are adding is red or blue, except for like in his like the end of his dress shirt at the very end, which is perfectly fine. So even if you paint it like the other team's color, it's not noticeable. And the you are adding far more team color than you are removing.